So let's take a look at the next one that I wanted to show you, which is more of the same. This is WinDebug. We're going to do source level debugging with WinDebug, which is another thing I'm not aware of being able to do in Ollie, although you might be able to. This is what a real developer might do, as opposed to just a sleazy hacker. You actually debug in your source code language. So let's run WinDebug preview. So first we got to make a program. So you need Visual Studio, which is already installed in this machine. You click Start, scroll down to the V's, and here's the Visual Studio 2019. So we're going to make a native 64-bit tool, x64 native tools. Okay, it gives you this command prompt, and I'm going to make the font bigger. All right, and now I made the font bigger. I'm going to make the window a little smaller. All right, that'll do. So now I've got a program, and I put it in my app. All right, so let's just remove everything else, or delete rather. All right, and delete VC. There, let's try a directory now. That should have been deleted. I've got my fingers on the wrong keys. All right. There, the only thing left here is this CP++, so let's notepad that. All right, so here's my app, and I just got this from some Microsoft tutorial, of course. Font, make it bigger. Okay, so this is a main function that just sets a variable a to 2 and b to 0 and then calls my function of various variables. And this calls it P1, P2, and P3, and it just does a few mathematical operations on it. So this is a very simple program, just does some simple math. Now, so you got this function, now we're going to compile it. You compile it with CL, my app. And that makes myapp.exe. If you do a directory, that created an object file and an exe file, but it did not create a PDB file because by default it strips symbols off because you normally don't distribute them. All right, so now we're going to debug this file as it is with WinDebug preview. So it's WinDebug preview, and you don't need to run it as administrator. And we can launch the My App in here, File, Launch Executable, and it's C, My App, My App. All right, it loads and launches the window where it's going to run, and then it stops in ntdil, just like the last one, at ldrp debugger break with a CC, just like before. And you notice it's much simpler than Notepad. It only loads a very few things, ntdil, kernel 32, and kernel base, because this program does almost nothing. All right, so now we can find the symbols. Let's try X, my app, bang star. And it's unable to verify the checksum, which we don't care about, but it also finds no symbols at all. There are no symbols because we did not compile it with symbols. And there's no PDB file, so you can't have any named locations in the My App. Now, we can do LM to see the loaded modules. And you'll see ntdil is here with a PDB file, but My App is here and it has no symbols. So that's the problem. We don't have symbols, so we can't see the named objects inside My App. So that's no fun. So let's put those symbols in there. So we're going to delete the old stuff, the executable, and the object. And we're going to recompile it. But we're going to use the /ZI switch, which is what you put in for some ungodly reason to include symbols, ZI. Now if you do directory, it's got a PDB file and a second one for VC, whatever that's about. But this is the one that matters to us. It's got a PDB file and an ILK file, which I'm not sure what that is. But anyway, now when we debug it, we'll have symbols. So, WinDebug. And we launch it in WinDebug with file launch executable. And it remembers there's my app right there. So as before, it loads and breaks at a do debugger break. And now I can do, say, loaded modules. And now I should be able to see, okay, I haven't got the symbols yet, but it doesn't say they're not there. So let's see. I should, and if I try to find them, I think it'll find them. I can do X, my app, bang, star, main, star, and it will find them because it needs them. Yep, so there it goes. And now I think if I do LM, they'll be loaded. Let's see, I think that's right. Let's see, LM. Yep, that's what it did. So it didn't load them right away, but when I wanted to use them, it went and found them, and now it's found them, and you can see there's a path here where it's made a copy of those PDB someplace where WinDebug can find them and use them. And so now we have named locations inside my app, including main, which is the function that runs it, of course. Here it is, my app main. That's the start of the function. So I can put a breakpoint at my app main. With BU, my app main. All right. And now I can run it with go here. And it runs and it stops at my app main. And now that it has symbols, it's connected to source code, so it shows me the C source code here, and it puts a red dot showing I've now stopped there, right at the first command in the main function. It has loaded everything, but it hasn't done any of the commands yet. It's waiting to have them in main. And now I can step through the code, and when I do step into here, I'm going to be stepping through C source code. So I'm right now at line 9. I step into there. Now I'm at line 10. Now at line 12. And see now, A is 2 and B is 0. It's been loading these values. Now it's going to call my function. So I step into and step into again. I guess it is making an assembly language step because it's taking several steps to get through a line of source. So here we are back in my function. Now it's going to have more variables, P1, 2, and 3 here. So P1 plus P2 plus 3 is going to go into X. Notice, by the way, how X is currently undefined, so it has this ridiculous long value. That's kind of cute. Now I can step into, and now X is 7. Now Y is going to be X over P2, but P2 is 0. So when I step into here, it's going to crash. And there it goes. Integer divide by 0. This is an exception. So I just tried to divide by 0 and it crashed. Anyway, that's what source code debugging is. Now, I used to be able to analyze this with bang analyze. That's what the Microsoft tutorial said to do, but when I tried to do it earlier today, it would not work. Yep, no export analyze found. Analyze used to be part of WinDebug, and now it's not there for some ungodly reason. So I had to change the flag for the bottom of this one. It used to be able to do an analyze, but the WinDebug preview seems to have a bug. Anyway, so that's source code debugging. And that's all there is to this one.